watching Monday's Not Just Crew.
Well, welcome back. As you know, being Not Just Crew is about doing everything and anything. And one of our main contributors has been Kaylie K, who's becoming a well-respected author. Now, the thing about being an author, it's great to chat to authors. You don't always get the chance. So I'm going to bring in Kaylie. And welcome back to the stage, Kaylie K.
Hello.
Hello, Kaylie.
Long time no see.
Yeah, and a very happy new year. I've had a chance to, to say it to you. Yeah, last time we met was in Seattle, chatting about your Red Eye podcast. A fair few episodes have come out since then. How's that going?
It's going really well, but it does keep us busy, me and Ali. But yeah, I miss writing my novels. So this is really good to have a chat about writing stories, real long stories today.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be introducing another author in a minute. And how exciting is that for you? Because, as I say, is being an author quite a lonely? Could it be a lonely place sometimes?
Yeah, I feel like I need to, because you've often called me in to have chats on here when we've had other authors on, haven't you? But this is the first time I think I've come to you with someone and said I really want to chat to you. So whenever I fly, generally, like every 3 or 4 flights, someone will say to me, I'd love to write a book, or I've been thinking about writing this book. And the amount of times I've tried to share the little I know about self-publishing a book and getting, it always starts with write the book. When you finished it, I can tell you how to get that on out there. But this author that I've brought to you this time is the one that we started off at a similar pace back during COVID. And now when you go to your neighbours for wine and someone's like, oh my God, I'm reading these books, this author, oh my word, I just can't put her books down. And you're like, oh, I know her. And then
yeah. Well, I'm really excited about anything to do with creativity, especially within the Not Just Crew community. I think I've probably told you I have written some short stories which I've never published, but it was more to do with a product. So I'm interested to see how you both work. So I'm going to bring in Elle Nicoll, author and cabin crew member. Firstly, welcome. Lovely to see you, and thank you for joining us here at Not Just Crew, and so nice to meet you. So you're as Kay quite right said, you're an author, but you were cabin crew first.
Yes, for about 13 years.
Oh yeah. Which airline? Oh no, actually, you don't have to say that if it's going to cause problem.
Oh,
I don't see any problem.
No, if you want to. No, sorry, if you're quite happy to, that's absolutely fine by us.
So I worked for Flybe for a little while doing short haul, and then 13 years was at Virgin Atlantic.
Oh well, did you ever meet the one and only Simon Costello when you were at Flybe?
I don't think so.
No, believe me, if you had, you would remember, as I'm sure Kaylie. I'm sure you'll confirm that fact. So we have 2 authors in the studio. I know Kaylie's got about 1,000,001 questions. But I've got to ask her, what actually drew you to becoming cabin crew and the aviation industry in the first place?
The first thing was that I didn't like flying. And I thought, right, I don't like it, so what can I do? I'll face my fear and I'll work on the aircraft. So and it was just a draw to the travel really as well.
That's quite a brave decision to actually sort of face your fear, especially sort of career-wise, because, as I say, the fear of flying is a very, very real thing. We've done a couple of programs on it before. And did you? You actually faced your fear, and did it work?
Yeah, I mean, I used to get airsick to start with. So when I first started flying with Flybe, I used to have to take air sickness tablets every shift that I did. And that had I was only there for a short amount of time, so it pretty much worn off the sort of fear of it by the time I joined Virgin.
I've got to ask this: did you actually tell the airlines you had a fear of flying when you went for the job, or was that something you kept internally?
No, I mean, it wasn't a debilitating one. I've never had an issue getting on a plane. It was more, I think it's because I'm a bit of a control freak, and I knew that if I was crew, I would know what all the sounds were, all the chimes, and I knew if something was happening, I would know about it. So I think that was part of the draw, I guess, to do all the training and to understand how everything worked.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. I mean, because to say I actually love aviation, I couldn't wait to get in. But to go into a career that you're actually a bit frightened of and actually literally face your fear is quite amazing. Before I hand you over to young Kaylie, just another quick question: did the working in the airline industry, did that inspire your writing, or had you always wanted to be a writer anyway?
I certainly wanted to write before that, but it has inspired certain storylines in certain books. My first book is based around an airline, and the lead female is cabin crew.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, in that case, I shall bring in young Kaylie Kay, author herself, and who's been a brilliant contributor to Not Just Crew. Kaylie, I know you've got 1,000,001 questions.
I just want to say, look behind where Elle is sitting at all those book covers, and she's written all of those. How many books have you written now?
So 10 full-length ones and 1 novella, like shorter length.
Because we were on a similar track at the point that it was during COVID, Trevor, when I was doing Ditched and you came down for the book launch. And I don't know if you remember, but I asked Al for some bookmarks that I could put in the amenity kits. And she'd only brought out her first book then based on Flight Attendant, which we all start with, don't we? I've never got out of that genre. But most of the authors that we meet that are out there that have been crew want to start with that one because we've all got that story, haven't we? But I think the reason I wanted so badly to have this chat is because I've been wanting to put something together, just a simple PDF or Word document that I can send to all these crews that ask how do they write their book and get it out there. And I don't think anyone could advise them better than Elle. And you could definitely add more. Because how did you go from 1 to 10? And you're international bestselling. I look at your social medias. I'm like, how do you find time for this? How do you know what to do? You've done so much more than I have, and I don't know where to start with all of that.
So book 1, I wrote book 1 more as could I write a book? I didn't plan on publishing it when I first started it. I just wanted to see if I could write it for myself, really. And then as I wrote book 1, there was a side character that I thought she's got to have her own story. So I then wrote her book. And then there was another side character. And I was like, right, I need to write her story now. But I think actually some of it was kind of procrastinating because I didn't know what to do with that first book. So I actually wrote 3 before I think I plucked.
And you brought them out at the same. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you then. You brought those 3 out at the same time, didn't you? And I think that's why it seemed to go so.
I think one was June, one was August, and one was November release or thereabout. Yeah. But I did 3 before I was brave enough to do something with the first one.
Yeah, how did that feel? Because I say it's like any creative industry. It's first a bit of imposter syndrome, but secondly, you're sort of exposing your soul, really. And we're excited about the publish, or because Crew always seem to put himself down for some reason. We're waiting on some criticism. I mean, what was your reaction when you sort of press that sort of button for right? I'm gonna go for it.
I don't know, really. Just a bit of disbelief, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I try not to read reviews. I think it's quite difficult not to. But yeah, I mean, when you said imposter syndrome there, I think we all have that, don't we?
And absolutely.
It never goes away either. Some days it's worse than others. But no, I think in a way, the first book was almost easier to release because there's no expectation on yourself in the beginning. I was just like, well, here it is, and maybe I'll sell a copy. And I didn't think too much about it. I think I was just so excited that I'd actually done it and I'd put it up on Amazon. So
Yeah. And you said, I understand you're a self publisher. I'll let Kaylie talk about that a bit more. But how did you, when you've put that final word, and I'm sort of generally speaking to both of you here, when you put that final word down on paper and say, right, that's complete. I know it sounds silly, and I'm only thinking of myself as a sort of visual person. Does your mind then go on to the dust cover, the cover, or did you have an idea about how you wanted that book to look?
I think I had a rough idea in the beginning, just from looking at other sort of romance books that were out at the time. I knew there was going to be a man on the cover of it, probably shirtless, and that is what is on the cover of it. But no, I didn't get the cover until after the book was written. Sometimes I will have it before the book's written, but generally.
Yeah. And what about you, Kaylie? Because I know you go deep into
no,
that.
It's something that I really need to address, is that I kind of had one style and then I decided to change it. Now I've got, and this is where I fall apart, because I've got two completely different styles of covers, and one day when I have time, maybe when I'm retired, I'm going to sit down and redo them all, but I'm just not there yet. I think we forgot to say that Elle writes steamy romance, don't you?
Yes.
And you know, we all know sex sells, and this is quite your...
I know what the books are about. I was trying not to go, because I'd be very jealous of the men in it, with all these lovely young ladies, and plus I've got 3 girls of my own, and sometimes dads don't always want to hear these kinds of things. I'm a dad.
I just want to go back quickly to what you said about that first book feeling. Now, I just flew with a lovely girl that is writing her first novel, and she was there when I was writing. And I said, do you ever, like, I find that if I reread something I've written and I'm not in the right frame of mind, I'm like, oh, what load of rubbish. And she goes, no, I love it all. And I'm like, and I thought, yeah, actually, book one, I loved everything I wrote. I thought it was, great, because I was the same as you. I wasn't going to publish it. It didn't matter. But then I read someone's article once, and it was really interesting. There's an arc, and I think we all follow it, where book one, it's great. By book 2 or 3, we start doubting ourselves, and the imposter syndrome starts settling in. And I think from the sound of it, you had a similar journey with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah. I mean, if I ever look back at something I've written now, most of the time it is, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Then there's the very rare times where someone may tag you in a review or something, or they'll put a quote and you'll think, did I write that? Where did that come from? That actually sounds quite put together. Like, I don't know what was going on that day, but generally I do find it quite hard to look back at things I've written.
And then, like you, sometimes I read something like, oh, that's really good. I like those days, but I just find if I'm just tired or not in the right frame of mind and I read it, that's probably when I'm at my most critical. But I think, so I could put together a very simple, write your book, save it as a PDF, get it proofread, upload it to Amazon and all of that. What I don't know, and what you seem to grasp very early on, was the marketing side. You were on NetGalley and all these, you were giving out free art copies. I don't even know what that is. And that's what I was hoping, because I really do want to help all those other crew that just might want to write their own books, that you might be able to help me with that side of it.
Sorry.
I was going to say, what's an art copy? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Technical lingo for me.
So that's an advanced reader copy. So you can give out like free ebooks and paperback if you wanted to do physical ones as well. You give out free books to readers to read before the release date of the book, with the hope that if they enjoy it, that they will leave a review when the book comes out, and that they will hopefully maybe share it on their social media if they have social media, or tell their friends about it. It's just to help kind of just build an awareness of the book, really, and get people talking about it before it comes out.
Yeah, but you had a platform that you did it through. But I think when I looked, was it quite a specific romance book platform that you were using? Or did you just set it up yourself?
No, so the first book I used a website called Booksprout, which is all different genres, I believe. And you could post your book up there and readers could say they were interested in having the arc for it. And then I think I did a post on social media as well, just saying that I'd got a book coming out. If anyone was interested in having an arc copy, then I don't know whether I had like a Google Docs form or something set up at the time to collect email addresses. But yeah, I just did it like that for the first book.
Because that's so important, those reviews and getting that momentum, isn't it? And you really have to stay on top of that momentum and keep it going. Yeah, that's the other thing. You keep that momentum going. You post every day, don't you? Or a few times a week?
I'll post every day on Instagram, TikTok, a little bit less frequent on Facebook, but yeah, generally most days. I
can't do that.
No, I was going to say, there used to be a platform when I had a different company where you wrote one post and it published on all the social media platforms all at the same time. Does that still exist? Because I haven't touched anything like that for a while.
I imagine so. I need to know what it is. It does.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed. I remember it's just one post, one picture. For Twitter, you just had to take out a few characters because I believe it was only about 117 or whatever it was. But it's a real shame because social media, although it's a brilliant platform, it can take up a lot of time and it can also become incredibly addictive. Just posting and also reading people's replies and likes. It is a bit of a dopamine sort of rush for myself. So how do you actually? How do you plan your day? Is that the first thing you do? Pop out a post?
No, I tend to do those in the evening. So I don't post that often, to be honest. Well, although I post daily, I tend to post, say, 1 or 2 TikToks a day, and then they will get posted on Instagram as Instagram Reels and maybe on Facebook as Facebook Reels. And then I'll post more feed type posts on Instagram, but maybe only like once a week, or if I've got news to share and there's cover reveals or a new book coming, or I've got teasers of the new book to share, and then I will be posting more often, like the graphic style post. But generally I don't spend that much time creating social media things, which I possibly should be doing more of.
But, well, that's a big, it's a big problem. What? A quick question. So, I apologise. I think it's a bit of a time delay, so I keep interrupting you when I shouldn't. So, apologies there. Do you reply to your social posts? I mean, I was going to say, do you reply to every single one, or is it come to such a volume now? There's literally not much time.
No, as long as I see them, then yes, I do reply to everyone. Sometimes for some reason you don't always get the notification, but I tend to reply to everybody that comments on a post.
And because you write romantic novels, most of your respondents male. The only reason I say that because Kaylie's had some very unusual offers. Which we won't mention on this program, but she has. But are you getting that kind of traction and that kind of interest, or is it from, say, women who love reading romance novels?
I do have a few male readers, but not many. I would say 99% of readers are female. Yeah.
And your demographic, Kaylie?
I think mostly female, but no, just mostly crew, really. I've not really pushed outside. I am rubbish at the social media side. I hardly post at all now. But I think because I'm so focused on the podcast, and Ali, thankfully, doesn't mind social media, so she does that. So I forget to post about the books. But leading on to the next thing I was going to say about, that's the problem with self-publishing, isn't it? That if you don't market yourself, no one else is going to do it for you. And there was correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it something like 40% of bestsellers are self-published or indie published? There's a huge percentage. You do not have to have a traditional publisher. I don't know why you didn't go down that route. Was it a choice, or you just never tried?
I mean, I've never actually pursued the traditional publishing route. I just automatically went to self-publishing just because that's just the decision I made at the time. Just because it's a lot faster to get your book out, you could keep a lot more control. over it. So I didn't really consider going traditional any queries.
Myself, for all the same reasons. But like I said, if you don't then promote yourself and market yourself, although I hear that traditional, they expect you to do all of that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, I'm a bit of a control freak, like you said earlier, and I like to be in control of when I want to do that. I didn't want that pressure, and then it takes the fun out of it, doesn't it? But so you have succeeded. What accolades have you got? I know you put on their international bestseller. That I know with Amazon, there's ways of manipulating, and someone will say, "Oh, I'm a bestseller on Amazon," but they've niched their book in a section where there's only 5 books, and but you haven't. You literally are. I know you are because my neighbours are telling me. You've managed to get there. How did you reach all the internationals? Is it just networking and social media, or have you got other tricks that you've used?
I think in the beginning, a lot of it was social media. So I started writing over lockdown, and I was spending more time, I suppose, promoting the books on social media, because it is, like Trevor said, it's a time. You're putting in time, but you're not putting in money to do that.
Yeah.
And especially in the beginning, there was no money to put into any other route. So I just tended to post more often on social media, and I would go in Facebook book groups, and they would have what they would call takeover days, where different authors would come in and you'd post about your book, you'd post some games and competitions, and then you'd give away free copies and things like that. So I did a lot of that. And then in the past 18 months, I would say, I've spent a lot more time looking into actual paid marketing. So things like Facebook ads and Amazon ads. And I spent time doing some courses on those and getting those set up in the background, so that if I do need to spend less time on social media because I'm working on a book, they're still always running in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, isn't it? That I don't worry about that side of it now, because I think, well, I haven't got time now, but the books are always there, and I can just come back and do all of that in 10 years' time if I decide I want to make it an income stream. They're there. But yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Trev. Back to you, because I forgot.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm finding the whole thing absolutely fascinating to say. I mean, I literally have got about 10 non-fiction and 10 fiction books in my head. And part of it is, firstly, I'm terrified of putting it down on paper. And secondly, it's just finding the time at the moment. But I really do want it. This is why it's absolutely fascinating, especially about the publishing side. I mean, for Kaylie, we've had these conversations before. You make it sound so easy. Okay, let's go down now. The publishing, because I know. Have you translated a lot of your books into audio books as well?
Yes. So 6 of them are out in audiobook at the moment, which was done through Podium, who are an audiobook company. And then I'm trying to count. Then book 5 just came out in German as well. The ebook and
wow.
That is yeah.
How did that happen?
Sorry,
German translate. How did that happen? You picked one in German.
I went to a couple of publishing conferences, and there's other authors there doing talks on foreign translations in different marketplaces, and they said that Germany was there's quite a readership for romance there. So I decided to start with Germany, and I just sourced a translator and an editor. So although the book's been edited in English, once it's translated into German, then you need an editor who will edit the German version. So I just did that, and I'm just releasing those as and when, keep sort of going through the series, really.
And how is that done? Have you sold many German copies?
Yeah, they are doing well in Germany. They certainly do better the English copies. I think that's because I'm able to market in English, and there's a bit of a struggle to market so effectively in German at the moment. That's something I want to work on, but I don't speak German, so I have to, if I want to make advertisements and things like that in German, I need to speak to my German editor and get things translated. And
Duolingo.
Yeah. Oh.
Just learn it. Just learn it. That's your next skill to acquire. With your books, then, what platforms do you publish them on? I know which ones I use, but because most people go straight to Amazon and get sucked into KDP, don't they? I found a company called Draft to Digital that I then put all the other ebooks on, but it's the physical copies. And that's why a lot of people want to go traditionals, because they want to see the books on the shelf, and it's a lot harder for your self-published to do that. You have to take that into your own hands and go to those shops, don't you? So where do you publish your physical books?
So that's another thing that I want to explore a bit more. So currently they're just on Amazon, but they do have Amazon expanded distribution enabled, which means that bookstores can order them from Amazon should they wish to stock them. So you can get my books on Waterstones and Barnes and Noble. I don't know that they'd be on the shelf in the store, but you can get them on the website and ordered in. And a friend in America did send me a very excited screenshot when she saw my book on the Target website. And I was like, oh, I used to spend many hours at Target down route. So yeah, I think Ingram Spark is another one that I want to have a look at, which...
So I only did the Red Eye book, and I haven't done it with the others because I just need to look into it. I don't know if you can relate, but when I'm writing, all I want to do is write. I just don't want to have time to do all of that. Everything else is just a pain. So I did Amazon and their KDP, but I've come out of that time with KDP, and I use Draft to Digital as well, so that they're available on iBooks and all the other ebook platforms. But Draft to Digital now do a print service, and that works with Ingram Spark. So that means that the Red Eye book is available in all those bookstores as well now, but through Draft to Digital. So I don't know, that might be something you could look at. But yeah, it's another way of doing it. But other than that, you literally have to take your books to those bookstores, don't you, and see if they'll put them on their shelves. Unfortunately, the big five publishers will buy all of the Waterstones front big shelves and the airports and all of that, so it's not that easy, unfortunately. But yeah. Wow.
Honestly, it's quite a sight. Are you quite clinical in the way you write out? Do you know what's going to happen at the end of your book even before you start? Because I remember, Kaylie, there was, I think it was your first or second book, there was a parcel left on somebody's doorstep. Yeah, and at that time, you had no idea what that was going to be in that box, but you carried on writing anyway. I just wonder if you're the same, Elle.
I'm a little bit of both. So they say you're either a plotter or a pantser or a discovery writer. So I'm a little bit of both. I've got better at plotting as I've gone on with more books, and I find I have to have a certain amount of plotted before I feel calm enough to begin the book. And whether I stick to it or not, which most of the time I don't, but as long as I've got something plotted, then off I go. But I find when I'm writing, quite often things will just happen as I'm writing them, and then I think, oh wow, okay, well this has completely changed the plot, so that's now out of the window, and I just kind of carry on with that. But I'll generally have a rough idea. I'll always know who the characters are, like what they do for work. I might have an idea of what I want certain big plot points to be, but I do find quite a lot will change as I'm writing.
Yeah, wow, that is. And what about how deep do you go into your plot? I mean, I'm only thinking for somebody who's never written a book before, especially a fiction book. Do you sort of work out each chapter, or where it's a good place for a chapter to end, or do you know that anyway? Does it just come to you? I'm asking for a friend.
No, I don't tend to plot in that much detail. I tend to have a very scattered notes app, notes open on my phone first of all, and it will just have random scenes in and that I'll have thought of, and I'll think, oh, this might fit. And then I will start to try and organize them into a timeline that makes sense. But I don't plot by chapter or in that level of depth at all. It will be more a case of this is what this character's like, this is a bit of their backstory, this is what they want to achieve, these are some obstacles that might come in the way, and it's quite vague, I would say.
Yeah. Do you both keep something down by the side of your bed, like a notebook or something like that, but for inspiration that comes in the middle of the night?
I just put it. You have a notebook? Yeah, I just put it in the notes app on my phone if I think of anything.
Oh wow, okay. So I mean, again, different generation. I don't know if I could be bothered to turn on my phone. I've literally got a little notebook that I've had for you. I'll go through hundreds of these small notebooks.
I scribble things down on anything, a receipt in the car, or when I'm writing a novel, that is trying to find stories for the red eye. Sometimes I'll suddenly remember something that might have happened once. If you have any stories for me, I'm struggling. I need a few more, so feel free to send them over.
You could do one about Crew became a writer.
Yeah.
There you go. It's inspiration, right? Okay, and also, okay. So, what projects are you working on currently?
So I say in September, book 10 of the last series came out. The series grew. I didn't know it was going to be 10 books. It grew quite a lot. They're all interconnected standalones. So it'd be like so and so's brothers now got a book, or so and so's best friends now got a book. But I'm now working on a new series, which is going to be fewer books, but they are all a lot more connected. So it's going to be all based around one family. And each book will follow a different member of that immediate family. And ideally, they should be read in order because there'll be a backstory thread running through the whole series.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Actually, can you pick any book up? That sounds fun. What's future screenplays? Are you looking towards getting it on the screen rather than just book form as well?
I think that's always on the dream vision board. Yeah, I wouldn't know where to begin with that at the moment as to how you'd actually try and make that happen. But yeah, I think it's a big dream probably for a lot of writers to actually see your words become, to actually be able to see them.
Yeah. To say, yeah. Sorry, Kaylie.
No. It's just something, because you write steamy romance. How do you not run out of material? Like,
are you not knackered?
And all of that, Do you have to read other books to get ideas, or your mind just goes that way?
No, I actually read so much less than I used to, which is kind of the downside of it, because partly because you're spending more time writing, but I tend to read, if I'm reading, I tend to read thrillers more than romance. I mean, I do love to read romance, but there's always a little bit of a worry that you'll write a line and you'll think, oh, did I come up with that, or has that come out of my conscious from something I read a month ago or a week ago? But in terms of ideas, I don't know where they come from, really. I think sometimes you'll get one and then it kind of snowballs into another, and then it goes on to another. Sometimes I can have a dream and I'll wake up and I'll think, oh yeah. Quite often they're terrible ideas, but sometimes that's quite a good idea. Or sometimes
they're steamy ideas.
Well, I like to daydream in the car. So my husband jokes that I'm a passenger princess, because if we're ever together, he has to drive because I want to daydream and look out the window, and then I might come up with ideas and I'll be like, on my phone, I'm just going to write this down.
Brilliant. What's the family support been like? But by the way.
So my husband, he's very supportive. He comes to book signings with me, and he works as my assistant on the day and helps me organise everything. In terms of reading the books, he's not read any of the books, which I think I prefer. I don't know that.
It's a critic.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he does know about them because sometimes I'll run my plots by him. But yeah, he isn't a reader of them.
Okay. And parents and sort of wider family?
Yeah, they are supportive. My sister's read a couple. It's not the genre she tends to read. And she says she finds it very hard to read knowing that I wrote it. Because to me, I'm like, no, please don't. My mum's
dad?
Dad's definitely not read them, but I get very like interested in the whole publishing side of it, and all of that. Mum's read one book, and I picked the book that I thought had the lowest steam level in it for her to read, and it was probably still out of my comfort zone to let her read that one, but she wanted to read one just to see what I was doing, really.
Yeah, are books? So I'm out of my sort of depth there. Are books rated like films? Can I mean, I say I don't know because it's sort of quite steamy. Would it be sort of more of a top shelf than a middle shelf? I say, have they got a rating scale? That's what I'm saying.
No, there's no like official rating.
Yeah,
that I'm aware of on Amazon or anything like that. I think quite often when readers do their reviews of it, they will sometimes rate it on like a chili pepper rating of either 1 to 5 or 1 to 3, with the highest with being the highest spice level. But it's very personal anyway, your interpretation of what is, and it depends what you last read and what you like to read. So it's very individual, I think, anyway, to the rating of it.
Wow. No, honestly, I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Okay, well, let's say we actually went longer than we said we would. Kaylie, have you got any more questions?
No, I told you it'd be interesting, Trevor, when I came.
Oh, I know.
So I really hope that this show will help others, even if they just want to write one book. Like just write your one book that you want to write, because anyone can really do it, can't they? But you just prove how you can take it to a whole other level. And now you write full time, don't you? It's your main job, so it's possible.
I thought that was the last question. How does that feel, taking a hobby and actually turn it in to a living?
I don't know. I mean, I love it. So I love going to work. It doesn't feel like work. And I feel very lucky that I get to do something that every day that I love so much. Some days it is quite strange, because I think a few years ago I was working on a plane. You're a big group working together as a team with like chatting to hundreds of people. Whereas now I tend to stay in the same 2-mile radius of my house most days. And some days I might not speak to anybody outside of my family face to face. So it can be quite isolating.
Is your day structured? Are you good at self-discipline?
Yeah, I mean, it's loosely structured, but I tend to follow the same pattern each day of what I'm doing, but it will vary from week to week whether I'm working on a first draft. So like Kaylie said, when I'm writing, I'm very much the same in that I want to write every day, and the majority of my day is spent working on that draft. But then I'll have a period of maybe a month. Sometimes I might need 2 months in between books where I don't want to work on anything new. I just need a bit of a rest from that. But I'll be editing other books. I'll be doing some ad courses, or I'll be making new graphics, or normally editing and getting ready for another book release. But not working on anything new.
No, I'm very envious. It sounds like you've got it. You've got it all. Okay. Well, what we'll do, we'll pop your social media and all the links to all your books in the description below, along with Kaylie's, of course. And Kaylie, we'll try and sort of between us, all three of us, produce some kind of downloadable PDF on becoming an author. I think everyone should give it a go, even for one, even if no one ever reads it. At least you've got it out of your system. Lovely. Well, Ellie, thank you so. So thank you so much for joining us, and we shall watch your career with great interest. Thank you very much for joining us.
Like, you've absolutely smashed it. Yeah, I'm so proud that we met so early on. I was so proud the other night with my neighbours, and I know her. Look,
I text your neighbour. Yeah, we text one another about the book.
Yeah, felt like
lovely. Excellent. Well, thank you. Okay, guys, join us for another episode of Not Just Crew coming soon.